And good afternoon. It looks like my system clock is off by about 15 seconds, according to Bookmap. So welcome to Risk Neutral Trading. This is my Globex stream. I've just started this on Sunday. It's going to be going to go through a few of these afternoons. I'm exploring the possibilities of opportunities for the opening range breakout in the Globex and Asia opens. So in other words, what I'm doing here is I'm streaming live as I do every day on my regular risk neutral trading channel that starts from 8 o'clock in the morning until 1500, and I'm doing these short streams in the afternoon. The reason I do that is I have a commitment to not take any trades off of the streams. So, this is not for trade or financial advice. It's for, entertainment, comedy relief, whatever. There's a disclaimer in the description. Yeah, so please read that. But I do take live trades, as I said, here on Bookmap, and I plot what's going on. With my IRT. So here we have our open. There was a big sell-off down here. You can see as far as it came from the quite an extension to the from the close. And so let's just get started. I'm going to get Blue Boy on the job over here, which is a tool I use. It's a real complicated thing called a vertical line. And what I do with this is I put that on the first print of every session, and I can prove it. Here is there's the just closed RTH session, and there's Blue Boy from the open. Now, what did we do? Here's our open. Here's the open. Little tick up and then sold down, and here is 1500. There's the cash close right there. And this is the interim or the curb trade down to 1400 or to 1600. And down here is where we had that big, and now we've had our big spike down here. And are open, and we're trading up. And there's Blue Boy for the purpose of this is this blue line. If I glance left, I will know, and I see Blue Boy, if I glance left and see Blue Boy over here, and this is the current state of the auction, I will know I have the entire context for that session in view, and that's important to me. So this is kind of totally different than my morning streams. The first 30 minutes is setting up the software and reviewing the reports for the day and what I expect, what happened in the overnight or the ETH session and how I expect we're gonna deal with the market in the RTH session. This is strictly based on the opening range trades for the Globex here, and then at 1900 for Asia. This is Bookmap. It's my execution platform, and this is IRT, which is my basic plotting charting platform. You see I've switched it from RTH session to Globex, or to the full session on all these charts, and I've extended the volume profile around today's RTH trade, because price was overlapping. Now, this is how my micro composite chart works. I'm just looking around here, what's going on. So this is the beginning of here is the previous RTH session. There was one trade triggered by this edgeful based system, and it's really simple. There's the IB high, the IB low, and then there are these zones within the IB, 25, 50, 75, or 25, 50, 25. So here we are for the new Globex right down here. A couple things now. This is a full session chart, so there will be Globex, Asia, London, US. We're just starting, so we've got nothing going on. It's possibly easier to view these things on a tool that I had never used before, but I'm finding it real convenient, and that's TradingView. You see what kind of a sell-off we had after the cash close, and then we did this. Now we have the Asian Open starting right here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the initial balance for the day. This dashboard will go away, etc. I'm just going to hide it. And I'm going to put on the the Globex, I'm sorry. So this will start plotting a Globex right here. It will start plotting the Globex opening range breakout. Now, I set the opening range exactly the same as the initial balance. It's for the first 1 hour of the trading session. So this will be the first 1 hour of the Globex session. There's only 2 of them. And then the Asia session will start, and there will be another one. And let me do one other thing here because I've got it. It's all okay. All right. So there's the stats. So here's the indicator. And this is from Edgeful, which is my data analysis tool that I'm using now. And if you subscribe to Edgeful, which is right here, if you subscribe to this, you get these indicators free. And that's why I started using TradingView. I'd never ever really looked at it until I saw, well, here are these indicators for TradingView. You should use them. So invite only. These are all the indicators that they give you for free from Edgeful, which is pretty nice. And I've selected the ones I like, which are this opening candle continuation, the initial balance, and then we have those things down here. So we'll watch this form, and I'll go through the data, how I mine the data for these and come up with a probability and whether it's of an interest of trading to me as we progress here. And I'm just kind of, I've not ever done 2 streams before. Sunday was the first. So let's see what happens. Okay. 10 minutes in, and it's kind of a nothing burger as it's been the last 3 days. Wrong button. All right, so here we are. I think. Are we? Tell me we are. Yeah, I gotta come up with some sort of a... So as I said, the theory behind this is, where am I? What's going on? Oh yeah, Mr. Mouse is out, gone walkabout on me here. So we're trying to determine if these opening range breakouts are interesting opportunities. And you can pretty much see what's going on here now. So we have remember this is not an initial balance high or low. It's the opening range, because in my world, the initial balance is the first 1 hour of the RTH trading session. So I realize it's semantics, but let's keep them constant and consistent, and then nobody's confused, especially me. And I confuse easy, so come on. Play nice with the old guy. Here we go. You see what a big dump we took right after the cash market and opened right down here on the bottom, and aren't really acting like we want to do much about it. We even left a single up here. This is the period of time after the cash close right here. From 1500 to 1600 Central Standard Time. One thing about these charts and everything, I'm not sure if I got all this in. I have it. Try to get you all the same information as the normal stream at 8 o'clock in the morning, but I stream my entire monitor, so you can always see any software open. Also, most importantly, the system hours, minutes, seconds, and the date, and tie that back to both Bookmap and IRT for any questions about real, live, whatever. I'm trading these multi-accounts here. I'm set up so far for the hedge trade management, which is a replacement of a hard stop. It's the same exact distance, etc., but it puts on a hedge instead of a full stop. So if the price happens to be moving around a little and then goes in the direction that was anticipated, take the hedge off and off you go on your merry way. The way this works is In order to trade with Bookmap, you have to select an account. And in this case, to de-risk and be able to do this experimental trading, but still have some profit potential, I'm using 5 Lucid accounts and copy trading. Okay, so the way the hedge works is you have to select an account first, of course, and then there's no OCO order or anything, or bracket orders like I typically trade with multi-brackets, but this will be 5 micros per entry on this system. And the hedge will be 1 mini. So if you know the relationships, you very well know that it needs to have 10 minis, 10 micros is 1 mini. So to be 0 hedged, we're breaking down here now. To be 0 hedged, I'll go through that in a little bit once I get everything kind of rolling along here. I'll show you how the hedge, well, I can do that now, I guess. Boom, hedge, boom, boom. Okay, here's the philosophy behind the hedge. Let's just pretend that we take a trade at 75.35. That's what we're trading right now. Let's pretend we're going to go short because that's what it looks like the market's doing. 75.25. Let's pretend that we're going to go short because the market's selling down, whatever. Well, actually, typically it would be a long. So let's go long. What am I doing here? This is just a tool I built, so it's no big deal. And okay, so there's the entry price, 5 micros. There's the price of the micros. The stop location is 12 ticks, which is 3 points. And then we have the ad size, we have the average price, etc. So here's the way the hedge would work. Here's our entry, and we're trading this long. And I'm showing you the wrong thing. Sorry about that. Start over. Entry price. Long. This is the entry and this is the size, which all of these can be changed or modified. There's the stop. So for pretend, we entered one at 75.35 long. Right there. Now, 5 contracts, micros, long. And this is the dollar risk amount. So let's pretend that price doesn't go the way we think and it comes back against us. Rather than taking a stop at 75.22, which is 3 points, it is 12 ticks or 3 points. We add 1 micro long and short 1 mini. At this moment, we are fully hedged. And we have a built-in maximum loss of 1.5 points, $75. The price can go up to the moon, can go to the basement, doesn't matter. If we don't touch anything or take anything off, that's the most we are at risk right there. This is 2.5 points. No, I'm sorry. Is 6 ticks, not 2.5 points, 6 ticks, because this is a 3-point total stop. So it's 3 points from here to here, okay? That's the hedge. So let's say that at some point, price trades back up to the average price here, which is what, 75.23 half? So we want to take off the short leg at 75.23 half. And there's where our scratch would be. So if price trades up to the 75.25, our entry price, that's a dead scratch. We can exit right here and it didn't cost us a penny. Price continues to go on, it's profitable, and it's going to be on 10 minis, micros, or 1 mini. Of course, you have to be on your game, right? If you take the hedge off, wherever you take the hedge off, and price starts going the wrong way, you better see to it that you manage your risk. But that's how it works. So there you go, and that's what I'll be looking at using if we get these opening range trades. I'm more looking for if the opening ranges are working out with the system theory that I have about it for these two sessions, because I've never really looked at them. I've looked at the RTH session since, donkey's years, but these two, not so. So let's go over now and look at, so there's that. Here we are trading out the overnight, and this is the range so far. There's our range, there's our overnight, our RTH high, our low, right there. And we can jump over to Trading View, which is actually easier to visualize in my opinion. I've got the wrong thing up here, hold on. I can tell you exactly what I did wrong here. I got the right thing. Well, let's look over here. I have this, you see, I got the wrong dashboard. Dummy. What I didn't do was the edgeful IB up here. I need to close that, and now we have the the Globex opening range dashboard. So, sorry about this. I'm a newbie to this system. So far, we have a 12-point. So this is a substantial opening range tonight. The last couple of days, it's been 3 or 4 points, or 4 or 5. Pathetic. Now we're at 12, so it's starting to become meaningful. And if you notice, the IB high was put in first. So it was, at this point, the high and low are the same because it's one candle. But here in a minute, we almost put in a new IB low. It doesn't say that yet, but that's important. Which of these levels formed first is important for the statistics. And then here are the zones in the middle. So we're going to see what happens. Obviously, we're only 15 minutes into this thing, and we've got another 45 to go. Let's look at the statistics here. Wait a minute. Let me just do something over here. So this is the opening range for the Globex. This is the high at this moment and the low, and the high was put in first as we're selling down. Actually, if you squint your little eyes, you can see that this candle brought the opening range low a tick or two below this. So we can probably see that perhaps easier on IRT. Let's look. Where did IRT go? There we are. You see how we had the opening candle, high and low, flat. This candle comes down. We have a little dip down here. This candle extended the opening range low. So the opening range high was put in first here at the open. And at this moment, the opening range low is second. Of course, if price trades up and they put in a new opening range high, well, the opening range low was formed first. So that's why we have to be patient, boys and girls, and wait. Let's get back to the. So we can't see the dip in the line, but you can see that there's a gap from the low of this candle to the red line. That means that this one exceeded it, and probably around here somewhere is a way to put. I don't know how to use TradingView at all, so any suggestions are super. There's probably a way to pull up a info box to say what the high and low of this candle is and all that stuff, and the same over here, and then it's clear as a bell what you're dealing with. I don't know how to do that, but I'll have to look into that. That's a good note to self. So let's go to the data. Now, what are we going to do? Well, let's look at the opening range trades for weekdays. And this is Globex. So, what have we got going on now? Well, this is the opening range trade based on 1 hour. And this is all goofed up. I didn't say what I had in mind here. Huh. Well, okay. Back to the drawing board here, I think. So we're in the opening range by breakout days. First thing we need to do is change our time zone here. Oh no, this can be okay. Yeah, we need to change the time zone to daily, which is the full thing. Now we're going to get the first 1 hour being 6 p.m. to 5 p.m. So the range is going to be from 6 to 7 p.m. or this is Eastern Standard Time, or 18 to 1900. Right here. It's kind of confusing, I realize, but trust me. It's confusing to me too. So this is by weekday. And here's the interesting part. Watch these. This is the just opening range breakout means to the long side, and opening range breakdown. Wait a minute, what's going on? Oh, here we are. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Sorry. Opening range breakouts, opening range breakdowns, and double breaks. On Monday, there's a 34% probability we'll break out. That would mean to the long side. 7% would break out to the short side. 57% will break both of them. Tuesday? Uh-oh. Look at there. Yeah? Pretty astounding, isn't it? And where are we? This is Wednesday, I think, isn't it? Okay, so Wednesday we have no breakdown. This is... Oh, sorry. Come on now, let's get it. I thought I had these all saved, so this stuff was in there. I obviously don't know what I'm doing well enough. Okay, now we're on the MES. We're looking back 6 months. Should have started this wave first. I'm sorry. Opening range by breakout by weekday. 60-minute opening range on the MES right there. Okay. And the period is 6 p.m. to 5 p.m. UTC is New York. So there's no recorded instances of breakdowns on Wednesday. Looking at every Wednesday over the last 6 months. Isn't that kind of amazing? Let's see, about a year. 1.92%. I find these statistics astounding. In a year of Wednesdays on the MES, we have 1.2, and I'm going to guess if we look at the statistics, yep, there we go. That's one instance where we broke the IB range to the downside in the Globex in a year. Don't you find that bizarre? I do. That's why I think this data is so insightful and so much help. So trying to get short is probably a really stupid thing to do. You think about it. Okay? Double breaks, however, are 41% of the time. That's the most. Over here, 52 of them. I'm sorry, where is it? There's 42 instances. 78% of the time is a double break. So this is a single break. Remember, single break. This could break first, and then it goes back up and breaks this one. Whichever side breaks first, especially if it is the upper level, the upper IB or OB, it would be a real valid idea to short for the bottom, because double breaks are 79% of the time. Changes your thinking, doesn't it? And over the last 6 months, 81% of the time did we double break. The more crazy the geopolitical stuff gets, the more opportunity or more possibility for double breaks. So then let's go to the next one, which is the by rejection. And let's make sure that we've got everybody in our, we got to change some customized stuff here, because this is from the last one. So we're going to want Wednesday, not Tuesday, and we're going to use the all-day ending zone for now. If the opening range high is formed first, there's a 77% probability that we're going to break the opening range high first, which is phenomenal to me. Typically, it's the other way around. In the RTH session, 23% it would be that one. If the opening range low is formed first, again, the opening range high is 92%. You see, isn't that shocking? To me, it's real eye-opening. Now, this is based on Wednesday. We don't have the closing zone in here yet, which makes a real big difference. So this is saying that, let's look at our trading view, buddy. We keep fluffing around over here, and assuming that we don't get up here and, change something, IB high was put in first, IB low was put in second. Here's our trade, boop, 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 boop. 78% probability we're going to take this one out first. And when we look at that basic standard study, there's another 76 or 7% probability that we're going to come down and take the bottom out also. And what's amazing to me is typically the statistics during the RTH sessions are, hey Steven, how you doing? Yeah, but that's just days that it broke or didn't break, I think. Let's look. I'll go back to that in a second. And then there is the, typically if the IB high is formed first, the likely suspect to be first break is the IB low. In this case, looking at this data, and it could be this could be because of my time zone story over here. The IB high is always the first suspect in both of them, 92% if the low's put in first. Okay, you were talking about the 52-day data in the first year. Let's look. Back on the standard report, right? By weekday? Yeah. But these are 6 months of Wednesdays. So 4 6s is 24, right? Looking at a year, this would be, I think I'd have to go look because I can't do it and my math is terrible skills, especially when I'm tired. But I see what you're looking at here. This is for only Wednesdays. I don't know. I don't know. That's a job for Google, dude. Let's ask. Let me find a computer that works upstairs here. I don't know. I'm tired. What can I tell you? How many? Okay, so here we go. 1 year from now. Oh, damn. Wrong keyboard. Sorry. Wow, what is this? I've got this all crazy. Yeah, there you go. Where's the thing? A year has 52 Wednesdays. There you go, baby. A year has 52 Wednesdays with few exceptions. This is for OnTheClock.org and Google somebody or another. So yeah. There you go. Surprises me, but what are you going to do? I believe that they've got their data well organized and figured out. So, yes, there are 52. So, if you wanted to look at this data from a point of view of trading this opening range, and we still have not input the all critical end zone data because we don't have that yet. This is by rejection. Oopsie doopsie, yeah. Oh yeah, we're back on the year. Okay. 6 months. And what was the other one? This one was... I think I'm losing my mind. Didn't we just have a whole bunch of different data up here a minute ago that was showing the different breaks? No. Wednesdays, weekdays, yeah. And this one is... yeah, this is it. There's a greater than 77% probability, as high as 92%, that we're going to break the opening range high, despite which opening range level was formed first on Wednesday in the past 6 months. That just shocks the living bejesus out of me. So at this point, we still have formed the IB high first. Right there. There's the IB low came in. You can barely see a little gap over here. At this point, so far, there's a minimum 76% probability we're going to take this IB high out first. And then another 70% probability we would come back and get the IB low. So this is where as we approach the end of the first hour, or the IB, which we've got a few minutes to go, some people start thinking about front running them. I don't think that's a good idea, even though we've got 12 handles across here. So each one of these is about 3, right? 3 points. I don't think that's a good thing to do, but we'll see. That's what I'm trying. That's what these evening streams are for. Yeah, that's exactly. I'm just stumbling along with this Edgefill thing. I was one of the grandfathers to adopt this and use this, and then I didn't use it for a long time. And I happened to notice something, I don't even remember where, a month or two ago. The improvements they made to it from the original, when I looked at it, is just like night and day, man. It's like, the Boy Scouts compared to Special Forces. I mean, it was incredible. So I'm getting back to speed with it. And as I said in the stream earlier today, the purpose of this is to free up let me say it properly. My mission with this data analysis and the homework is to vet and properly identify and vet setups that I trade to make money. I don't give two shits about being the best coding guy in the world, right? And I'm spending all my time trying to figure out how to code these things up with IRT. So here we are. And this could really free up that time that I'm consuming. That's the idea. And I don't know whether you were around or not, but they have they've developed an additional tool, which I haven't paid for, but I was able to review it for a while, called an optimizer, where you can put in your specific script setup, or algo they call it, but in my world it's a setup. Target stops, the whole schmear. And then you can get a very, very, very competitive, if not better, more detailed back test than I get with the IRT ones, if you know what those look like. If you're curious and don't know what they look like, I'll be happy to show you. And here, why not? We're just kicking the pooch right now looking at this anyway. So we've got about almost 15 minutes left for this 1 hour to be set. And then what happens after the rejection is the next step in this idea is to look at the retracement, which is this one. If the opening range high, breakout means long, breakdown means short in their vernacular here. If the opening range high is broken out first, which who knows, there's a 40% probability that price will retrace to the 25% level. I'm going to just keep using TradingView because it's so much quicker than flipping back and forth. So, assuming we come up here and break the IB high, there is a 40% probability price will retrace to this 25% level. And so on. Then there'll be a similar stat here for the other way. If price breaks the opening range low first, there's a 90% probability will retrace to the 25% level from the lows. And you start from whichever one broke, right? So this would be 25, 50, 75, 1, other way around. Would retrace to here. And what I look at, which I think makes more sense, there's a 60% probability that we're going to retrace to the 50% line or level. So the way I think about this, or the way I am thinking about this in terms of trading is, okay, I don't think front running is necessarily a good idea, the statistics. And in the typical IB, I very definitely didn't. It's actually even one of the hard-coded hotkeys in my chapter marker thing. But let's pretend we break out the low. we don't take a long or a short. We wait for the retest, and which one would be the most ideal? I would say to the short side, the most ideal retest for the short entry is the 50% range, and you put your stop over the 75 or at the top of the opening range. And let me point out that if you enter at the 50 and you put your stop at the top of the opening range, that's 1-to-1, right? Risk reward. If you put it at the 25, it's at 2-to-1. Or R2, or whatever, all that stuff they do. So obviously the other way in the longs, considering we're in a bull market, bearish kind of deal, the 25, I think, is the zone around the 25 is the better entry. Now, I blew it yesterday by not reading and having this properly thought out, so that, and this is to do with the closing zone probability, because that changes a lot. The probability was 40 or something, or 30 or whatever percent that we were going to get to the 25. This is the RTH. Price broke out the IB, pulled down in here into the zone between 0 and 25. And that would have been the long. I didn't take it. I was waiting for the actual line level because I'm too, rigid. And that was really stupid. And this thing went like that. So, I've got to be really careful how I do these entries, and that's one of the reasons. Another one of the reasons that I'm doing these Globex reviews, besides looking for opportunities to trade, is to see in real time, how this development works and how these statistics go together. Homework, baby. I'm doing my homework. Uncle Tom would be proud of old Boomer doing his homework. Now we are pushing down towards the IB low. We're pushing down towards the end of the, what are we doing here? Now we got 15. About 10 minutes left. And at the end of the orb, this will flush out with which one get taken and what. And then the next one that'll start up is the Asia. Boop. Mm-mm. So yeah. Interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff to do with this data. That's for sure. And I was gonna, I can show you the backtest capability that it has is pretty phenomenal. But let's watch what's going on now. We're gonna get this orb low here in a minute. And remember, it's like the initial balance. Taking this out doesn't mean that's been set. It just means it's been lowered until we have the time. So let's go back over here to something. Let's see what IRT is doing first. Excuse me. Here's my coded in IRT version of this edgeful deal. I don't have the zones coded in here because it's just an extra big pain in the butt, as I do have for the RTH. And in general, what's happening? Well, so we took out the lows right here. Here's this big push they made, right? Ooh, somebody said something nobody liked. Boom. Somebody said something. Iran did something. Trump broke his phone. Who the hell knows these days? It's just almost more than I can deal with. This is a big pissing match that's happening now with something to do with Iran. Let's see if I can figure this out. Let's see if we can get to the bottom of it over here. Let's see what Uncle News has got to say. Well, nobody seems to be paying much attention to how Christ is going to sign executive orders. Huh? No, 1455, that's long gone. Let's see what's happening. This doesn't update me. Yeah, there we go. Malta aims to charge $200 a month for planned hatch AI assistant. Meta, not Malta. And so North Korea's, he hasn't been getting enough press lately, so now he's got to start rattling his cage about nuclear weapons. If they want to worry about a crackpot nutcase that's got nuclear weapons, Trump should have been maybe he ought to be focused a little on his buddy Kim Jong-un. I think he's like exponentially more crazy than the Iranians, personally. Well, I don't know what that pop was, but I'm guessing it was something. I don't know. I don't think the Earth moved based on any of these things out here. I don't know. So I don't know what that was. My guess is that was something news related. Get the hedge back over here. Okay, the hedge is set up. I'm not doing anything, and we're going to have this first 1 hour in here in about 5 minutes. They've poked her down a bit, explored lower, to use trading terminology rather than poked her down. Poked her down. Probably not very technical, I guess, huh? Oh well. Now, just to explain, in case you don't know, and anybody else, for any other passing through the stream, first of all, welcome. It's my virtual trading journal. I trade live only on stream, not any trades off of stream, and I only trade vetted setups, statistically proven. It's not for financial or trade advice. It's for, comic relief, entertainment, whatever. But, the drill. And I execute on Bookmap and chart primarily on IRT. And these trades that you see being executed over here are walk forward tests of these strategies, and they are being executed in the IRT simulated environment, because I'm not confident enough of my meager trading coding skills to be actually putting these against money in my live AMP accounts, which is on the other side. So there you go. Surely there's no lags. Well, they're nosing their way up toward that IB high, but a ways to go, huh? Right up here. They did put in that news blurb extended the initial balance low, so that's clear as a bell now. There was no question about it over here. I'll have to figure out how you get the info box on here with the cursor when I'm Googling. The idea behind the stream is I don't multitask well, and so but I believe journaling and a transparent and fully accountable record is really important. So everything on my video is captured here on my screen, and my voiceover provides insight as to what I was thinking. Now, according to this, yeah, here's, excuse me, here's the ETH. The ETH high right up here. So this would be the opening range high, and we just took it. We're not there yet. It's been extended. We have 3 more minutes. This is the problem. This is, as well as I do. Anybody knows as well as I do in earshot of this stream or ever watched it. This is just news, geopolitical crap. And the thing that frustrates me so much is there is so much fake news, to quote somebody that we all know. The funny part about it is most of that fake news generates from their side of the table and their trusted news guys, as far as I know. And I'm not ever making political comments in here, but as traders, our prime motivation, job, prime directive is to preserve our accounts. You buy, fancy 52-inch curved monitor, gazillion, 5K, blah, 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 and have all kinds of super duper water-cooled computers and blah, 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 and you blow up your account. What the hell are you going to do tomorrow? Useless. That stuff is nothing but a dinghy anchor. So maintaining and preserving our account is our ultimate primary job. And the fundamental way that you do that is risk management. And this kind of crap is a real risk to any trader that's in a position and isn't hedged or has brackets in order, a full set of brackets in and that are server size. And that is so frustrating. We didn't used to have that kind of nonsense. So it makes it a real tough environment, I think, to trade now. And I guess maybe this Globex is a little too... And now, of course, unusual circumstance that we're in this war with Iran. No question about it. So, just have to take the good with the bad, but have to definitely be careful and manage your risk. Well, did we? Are we? Did we? Who we do? Well, we've got 15 seconds, and then this is in place, and then this will be. Yep, there we go. All right. So the opening range is in place. The IB high was put in last, right here on this candle. That means the opening range low was first. So we assign our zones as follows: 0 to 25%, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. It just goes opposite of the first level that was formed. So the zone for this extravaganza is going to be 0 to 25%. So now we can get over here and if I can remember how to do all of this quickly, and we go to custom and we go to the zone, and that's 0 to 25%. there is how that is impacted on a Wednesday. So this went, the first break is 60% for the, if the high was formed first, this would be the statistic. If the low is formed first, the IB high break is 100%, because once again, in 6 months, there's going to be no occurrences over here. 0 for the opening range low to be formed and the low to break first. And these aren't many frequencies, but that's what we've got in 6 months. So it's a pretty safe bet. We're going to probably take the initial balance high if you wanted to try to front run that, if a trader wanted to try to front run that. And then comes this story. Assuming we take the opening range high, this one will not apply. This will. We'll be looking, there's a 40% probability we'll take the high and pull back to the 25. There's a 35% probability we'll pull back to the 50. Meaning then that whatever the probability was, I've already forgotten, we'll take out the high, 60 or 80% it was. Then there's a 50% or 50% probability we're going to pull back to 50% line, or 40%. And there you see the dashboard in place. 15.5 handles, 1575. The low was formed first. Was either broken? No. Now just imagine you're down here and you're all comfy and warm, and you're going to try to trade to front run it. That'd be pretty disappointing, wouldn't it? I had a self-built but fairly comprehensive journal system that I kept track of trades in for quite a while. And it was clear from that data that front-running statistics, front-running the initial balance high or low, using fixed targets and stops was a bad, very low probable, had a very dismal performance statistically. Stephen, are you the Stephen who is one of the moderators in the T Lab? I think in Dallas, from Dallas, maybe? That's the only Stephen that came to my mind over there that I haven't gone and looked, of course. But yeah, we used to chat back and forth, and then he was, then if that's you or he is, I think as last time I looked, had become a moderator or had one of that moderatory looking thing by his name. I guess he's still there. It's been years ago. Maybe I'm talking to the moon here. I don't know. So, yeah. Well, now we have an hour for this to fuss around. And then we will have the Asia extravaganza start up. So I will get myself organized here. First of all, these are let's see if I... Oh, I don't have them on. Huh? Oh, what a dummy. Sorry. How did I turn these off? Oh, I turned off the wrong thing a minute ago. These are the sessions. And this is one of the edge flow indicators, by the way. You can easily create this stuff yourself, but these are the sessions. There's the overlaps and everything. So pretty quick. Globex isn't this Globex hour isn't a session, but Asia will start up over here at 1900. And that's going to look like right there. And this is my Globex that I've coded up or modified to work yesterday. And then we're going to fire up the Asia one right here, but we need to wait turn off the dashboard up here for Asia until we're done with this one, because I haven't figured out a way to be able to stack them. They stack on top of each other, so you can't see anything. Now, this is some report or something that happened over here at stock, I think is what this is. Oh, yeah, there you go. Look at there. That certainly wasn't anything that moved the market, I don't think. Maybe. Okay. Okay, I thought maybe that was you. Yeah, no, it's just completely curiosity and absolutely none of my business. You know what I mean? So now we will just watch what happens. And interestingly enough, neither have broken out. And that's kind of what happened right here. And I basically went my merry way. And then, of course, it broke right out here and traded down like a bandit. So wouldn't this have been the short to take? There's the IB high first. The first expectation is the IB low to be broken. Here we are, closed in the groovy zone down here, in the 25% zone. And you get, but what didn't happen here at any point until you got over here, and then you'd have been stopped out, is trading the pullback. Now, the front run, but that's just BS and bus tickets, you know? I mean, you can look back at anything and go, oh, if I shorted right there, look at all the money I made. It's a rear view mirror crap. I hate that. And I catch myself even standing here thinking like that. Stupid. That's why I'm so fixated on trading live in the stream. Here's another one. Here is whatever day this is. Oh, I forgot. There's the first. There's Monday. Nothing happened. The entire deal. And then Tuesday, a little bit of a breakout until they took the top. Completely counter to, well, not really. Because it was the IB high was first, the low was taken first, but it didn't really go anyplace. And obviously that was where the money was. The money shot, baby. So here we are. I'm obviously pretty clunky with navigating around with Edgeful here, but I am quite encouraged by it compared to what I have to do in IRT. The backtesting and the strategy statistics are pretty incredible. Also that they have the ability to generate, but you have to get that extra uplift on the account that I don't have. I did have access to just watch it, look at it for a while, a week or two, and I tested it real thoroughly, and I was quite impressed with it. That's the next step. So I'm still the only shop I've got for backtesting at this moment is still IRT. Which does an okay job, but it's, as I said, it's the I'm like everything, at the end of every stream, I'm the weak link in the chain, If I was part-time Larry or whatever that guy's name is on YouTube, and he's busy drinking coffee and chit-chatting about something, and he's coded up some, Monte Carlo system for Bookmap or something in 15 minutes. If I could do that, what a pleasure. And maybe that's the deal here. Maybe one of these guys is one of those people. And rightfully so. They're making money on this hand over fist, I'm sure. They've got quite a few subscribers now, and the minimum package is $49 or $50, and doesn't take many of those to add up. You know, get 1,000 people hooked up, and you get yourself 50 grand a month floating along there. That's pretty good. Hey, Panda, what's up? Little tubby cat. All right. So here we sit, and this is Asia, and there's the probabilities. We haven't broken either one. I'm sorry, not Asia, the Globex. And then the next, we're going to flip this to the Asia and do the same analysis for Asia. And that's all I really know to do. If you know a better way to approach this, let me know. I'm all ears as I try to say frequently through the day or through the stream. This is not a my way or the highway by any stretch of the imagination. I'm 100% appreciate collaboration and input. Good. And I've got pretty thick skin, so dude, you're out of your mind. I don't get all mad and shut stuff off. I cry a lot, of course, sit in the shower and sob, but Hey, Panda. What do you do? You come to stand by. Let's see. That's the standard report. Oh no, that's not the standard report. I need to put by days. These are the statistics of the breakout if the opening range of breaking the opening range. So let's look at let's make sure I don't have something goofy going on here. That's all okay. Let's look at I didn't mean standard report. I meant by weekday. Sorry. What it says is on Wednesday, the opening range breakout, which is to the top on Wednesday, is a single breakout, 19%, and a double breakout, 81%. No breakdowns, no breaks to the short side. Let's see about that breakout first. Where the hell did that come from? I think we need to go to the rejection one. Yeah. Right here it says, there you go. You were right. You were right. And still getting my head around these names and stuff. So this is with the current, ending zone, which you understand. I mean, I went over, but happy to do some more. Of this zone, that there's a 100% probability that we will take sorry. Yes, very definitely correct. Remember that we had the first the IB high was put in, and then it switched to the IB low first. So there is a 100% probability, according to this data, that, let's make sure I'm not bullshitting myself. No, I'm not. So here's the IB low first. Here's the IB high. Here's our zone. It says there's a 100% probability over 6 months that's going to be taken out first. Now, maybe we need to look at something else. Here's the frequencies. Low form first, break, or high is only 5 occurrences, but it's 100%. Because there's 5 occurrences of the low forming first, and there are 0 occurrences of the low forming first and the low being broken first. So, yeah. And I know where you're going with that thinking, and me too. Even though that's what it says, I look at that chart and I think, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to go long down here. I'm pretty sure. Now, here's a little different. Going back a year, we have a 20% probability that it's going to break the low and an 80% that it'll break the high. But I'm sure you were thinking the same as me when I looked at the chart. I don't know if I'm going to go long right here. Looking for that. This close to here. Doesn't mean now. Essentially, you could approach this as a mean reversion, right? Or an asymmetric trade location. You get long down here and you target up there. The problem I have is this. And in this market, this Globex thing, with the geopolitical and, pressure on us, I don't know. I would not take it. Right now, I'm not going to put a trade on, even with the hedge, long to the IB high. Because we had this big dumperoonie right here this is the cash close right here. And then we had this big dumperoonie down to 1600. And now we've got this going on. A little history that's, I realize that the conventional thinking around vetting trades, you identify a setup that occurs frequently. You identify the rules that validate an entry for that setup, and then you back test it to determine over a statistically significant data set to determine if you have a positive edge or not in your homework time. During the live market, every time that setup presents itself, you should take it. Otherwise, you've defeated all your statistical analysis. Until something's broken with the, it returns something outside the parameters of the back test, which for example, and I did exactly that with this one right here. What am I doing? What the hell's going on here? I did exactly that with, wait a minute, I gotta open that back up so I can keep telling you what's the deal here. This is the system. This is basically basically the Rod and I got to talking about this, and I said, well, I want to try to code up and vet properly the initial balance continuation and the initial balance failure. And so came up with these rules, talking to Rod and whatever, static. Continuation zone, failure zone. Failure zone, continuation zone. In other words, price comes down here. The first rule is A, that's the initial balance. Then there's a B, which isn't on here, unfortunately. These signal there we go. These signal markers are just, again, on this chart, it's got nothing to do with over here. It's just a visualization. So then there's the trigger. In other words, we take the IB low. We come up, price enters the pullback zone, and then price comes down to the trigger zone, and that would be along, expecting you're going to get an IB continuation, an IB failure, mean reversion. The other way for IB continuation. There's only 3 rules, and this is how I did this. And then I back tested the bejesus out of it, gazillions of times, and that information is right here. Each one of those lines is a complete back test. ES is above us. Each one of these is a back test. Whoops. The criteria, whether it's a scale or a trail or a knot or how many, basically the stop, the T1, the T2, is there a trail, is there not a trail, were the only variants I had, and the initial balance, because this was before the IBEF from Edgefull where it's done with percentages, the 20, 50, whatever. So these were fixed. 16 tick stop, 16 tick T1, 64 tick T2, etc. on a 2 contract. This would be a trail, or a trigger would trigger the trail at 16 ticks, so at T1, and then it would trail to break even, for example. And here they are. It's 490 days, 499 days. Each one of these has that many trades, days, trades, winners, losers, average, win rate, loss rate, expectancy, R factor, R to R, profit factor, trades per day, MEF, MFE, MAE, and on and on and on. Well, one of the big criteria is consecutive winners, consecutive losers. So if you're backtesting something and it's trading along and you go into a drawdown, until some parameter is violated, you don't make any changes. And you should just mechanically take the trade or the setup every time it triggers. And that's exactly what I did, with one caveat. And I'll tell you what that is right now. I don't feel comfortable about myself telling IRT to make these trades with my own. This was in my own funded account with AMP. I don't feel comfortable with them doing this trading. I don't know how to do that. So when I would see a trigger form, I would quick like a bunny enter a trade over here with the bracket set up as I have the trade set up. 16 tick stop, 16 tick T1, whatever, 64. And I would use multi-brackets. And it is as inefficient as you can imagine, as it sounds. But it worked quite well for 2 or 3 months. And then all of a sudden, it just started going off the rails until I finally was like bleeding to death by 1,000 cuts. And it exceeded the number of consecutive stops in a row. So I stopped trading alive. But I did that. And I have, keep track of it on statics, journal, and all that kind of stuff. So this is the approach I'm doing now, which I'm thinking is going to get me better results based on probability, these percentages rather than hard-coded values or zones, for example. and I'm capturing the data over here now. I've got to make sure this is working exactly right, and I can do the back test here. Also, then I'm quite keen about being able to back test it in Edgeville, assuming that I get there. That's where this whole system, that's where my process is anyway. And that's how I approach it. No, I don't, in case you weren't around earlier today, let me see if I can figure this out. Yeah, here we go. This is the Edgeville optimizer, which is essentially a backtest. So here's the parameters. These are the Monte Carlos. This is a sample and in sample, so I was forward testing. Profit curve, drawdowns, health of the strategy, and then all the trade metrics that you want. Consecutive winners, consecutive losers, win rate, loss rate, drawdown by day, by hour of the day, long and short, rolling window, P&L, by exit, splatter plot, which doesn't mean much to me, and then the P&L distribution and the R multiple. So, assuming that I get to a spot here where I feel comfortable adding that additional part to my package, that'll be, I think I'll be pretty much able to just move away from backtesting with IRT. I think, but until I get there, I don't know. I am able to make some progress with IRT as far as like this Edgeville trade. This IB trade based on probabilities and, you know, these zones. Because I put in the work and it worked, you know, and I was able to get it concluded. This basic, which is fairly involved, but really this is housekeeping, rules of the trading rules, and trade management. So I can use pieces. You know, you'll see the same names down here, for example, over here. There's a main that's got all those alternatives. Here's my triggers in my trading rules, and then this is trade management. So that I'm able to save a bit of time doing that. But I don't have the time to. You know, this has got to come right. I'm leaning on this now for my as our business and our support. So. There we go. Did it die? Did the market come to a crash and halt? This happened to me the other day too. It just suddenly volume dries up, and you don't see a tick for a while. Getting ready for. Well, we've got another 30 minutes before Asia. Well, it'll be interesting to see if it comes around and takes that IB high, won't it? Let's see, is the music still musicking? Yes, it is. Okay, great. And what happens if I do this? Okay, cool. Going on 16 hours here. It's been a long day so far. IRT is a great tool. I don't know if you use it or not, but if you're familiar with LinSoft, you can, I don't think you have to be a member or a subscriber to look at the, the articles and stuff. There's an article over there called Run a Lean IRT or something like that. And it's got a really interesting plot. I should go find it and make a screen grab to show here periodically. What happened in the amount of data that comes down the pipe now from the exchanges is just mind-blowing. It was a curve like this from, like 1980 to 2010, I don't know, 2015, it went like this. And then it goes like this. It's just phenomenal. The amount of data that comes down the pipe. And now they're adding more craps. Yeah, it can be complicated, there's for sure. It's got a pretty steep learning curve. Compared to something like, as you see how drawn I am to, and how much easier it is to flip and flop around on trading views. It's like sweet. That's the whole reason I'm looking at Edgeful is I don't want to be Mr. Code guy over here, to all this crazy shit. It's not the point. I have a bad habit of rabbit holes. I see one, ooh, shiny, and I want to dive down in there and see what's going on. I find myself way down a rabbit hole, just like coding this thing, and figuring out all this stuff to code all this rules and things you got to do, and the tokens and everything to get these backtests to work. That's not the point. That wasn't my idea. I didn't want to do that in the first place. I wanted to know the backtest results so I could evaluate over a statistically significant data set that I had a positive edge. Boom, I don't mind something like, doing something. It is kind of fun to do something like this backtest report here, right? And I made a little thing here to size up, how to size up systematically based on 2 lots and stuff like that. Here's a risk calculator. Gives you the minimum break-even thing, and if you've got $1,000 account and this is in ticks, and you're going to risk this much money and this many lots, this is how much you can blow up your account in 8 stops at a 12.75%, which is the highest risk. And if you've got a 70% win rate, you've got a 52% probability you blow it up. That kind of stuff. I don't mind doing this. Or this thing here, where I figure out all these, these various statistics, and I'm able to look them all up. But the key is getting this data, getting this data right across here to here. Number of trades. And it's not a lot when you look at it. Days, total number of trades, total number of wins, average winner, total number of loss, average loss. And this minus this is scratch. So that's, basic. That's that you need that data, and then the rest of it just falls in place pretty easy. But I don't mind doing that kind of thing, but analysis kind of stuff, but it's all this coding crap to get to the point, be able to pull the data out of it in the form of a backtest. That's the deal that I'm trying to get around. And I tried looking at Python, and that was worse. I got to where I could pull all the data out of IRT into Python and, do a basic stuff and come up with some plots and some this and that and the other thing. And then I never could get it to work properly with futures based on the 4 ticks in a quarter. And so that was a dead end for me. They're sure teasing that low a lot, and they're not taking that high, and I'm wondering if we've already taken out the IB low over here. Let's look. Uh-oh. Yes, we broke the IB low, so there's our 100% shot straight in the butt. Well, now, hopefully you're around going forward, but we can look at this report on Edgeful tomorrow. There better be one instance in 6 months of the IB low being taken out when the IB low was put in first, right? Because we've just witnessed that right here. And I'm confident that there will be, but I will certainly be checking because, it's just like with statistics or vetting a trade. You better do it yourself. Or do it in this kind of an environment where you see all the data and what's happening exactly and you know that stuff. So, now this would be kind of interesting while we're just killing time here, waiting for the grass to grow. I don't know how you I guess we could, here, let's check this out. Now let's get back to 6 months. This thing starts smoking, run for cover. I'm going to refresh the data. I don't know if there's another way to just refresh the data or not. There probably is. I just don't know what it is. I'm going to refresh the thing, and let's see if this already picks up the change. I have no idea. So far not. And that's, I didn't expect that it would. This has just happened moments ago, and I'm sure this is not based on real-time data. It's probably based on real-time data, but it's not live running, right? Why would they? Because it's statistics. So I'm sure there's a refresh. Maybe it's every hour or something like that, but it'll be really interesting to see if that happens. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take a screen grab of it, and then I can compare them. Ooh, okay. There we go. All right. Well, so now if you got long at that 25 or 75 or 50 or something, because you're going to front run this statistic up here that says it's 100%. You're sort of disappointed right here. And I am not completely unaware of the possibility that perhaps I am over focused on a systematic statistical approach. I am not a code guy, so I'm not like Mr. Quant that's doing all this fancy crap. Maybe at my level of trading, there is going to always be some element of discretion. We both just witnessed that a few minutes ago when you asked me, is it 100% probability that we take the IB high? And I said, yeah, here's the data. Yeah, it is. But I'll tell you what, I wouldn't go long down here. That's discretion. Banking on that high. That's a little fly in the ointment there. So, anyway, it's fun. Keeps me out of trouble. Keeps me out of the bars. I don't do that anymore. But being up and at 'em here since 4:30 this morning is kind of... Well, we got another 20 minutes till the Asia session starts, and then we'll see how that comes together. I've already got all that going here, don't I? Yeah, I've got Asia turned on. I will turn off the Globex dashboard. I can do that now because it's already happened, right? I guess we don't need that for anything anymore. And it's just a matter of clicking this little guy right down here. And then turning on the one for Asia. So here's the one for Asia. The session hasn't started yet. That's correct. In another 20 minutes, it will start right over here, and we'll see what happens. See how it plays out. This could be a continuation. This could be the sell-off that everybody's been, myself included, have been definitely looking for. In my opinion, this irrational exuberance market run is just ridiculous. This right here, you know. Now, this is certainly no catastrophic thing other than maybe just a pullback, perhaps. We haven't even gotten down to here. But I don't think that I think that we're set for a correction. You know, gap, 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 all unfilled. Look at this. You want to see something funny? You ready? Naked volume points of control. Where are your sunglasses? Of course, these, you know, are a little bit deceptive. These have been tagged, right? But these are all naked volume points of control under the price. And naked micro composite volume points of control. These yellow boys. Where'd it go? Where am I? Who's on third? There we go. All these yellow ones are naked volume micro composite volume points of control, and gaps all the way and up. Well, is everything in America and the grocery stores and the gas pump and the employment geopolitically with the government, is everything this good? I don't know. I mean, what I see, you know, at my level, it is definitely not. This is just euphoria. I started trading just at the tail end of the .com bubble. And there was a lot of pretty craziness going on there too. But I'm not saying that that's what we're having, but, you know, at that point, I was too stupid to know which end was up. So I didn't know come here from Sycamore at that point about it. But this is a pretty good sell-off day. Probably the biggest we've had in a while, huh? The real dumperoonie being the great tariff episode. So we'll see what happens. And of course, we're going to be subjected to this geopolitical drama until that. First of all, there's, you know, as well as I believe, this is my opinion, as long as the people in the administration are the administration, we're never going to get away from domestic, you know, foreign policy by tweet and that kind of stuff, which I find to be just so unprofessional and so undiplomatic, you know what I mean? Ungovernmental, unfitting for the office, shall we say? But it seems to be the new norm, and so, okay, if that's what everybody's good with, that's fine. That's never going to go away, which means that I think we're always going to have these real random volatile things that hit the markets, you know, that disrupt our auction. So I'm trying to figure out ways to mitigate that risk. And this whole exercise that you're helping me do right here, right now, is about that. My thinking was, okay, maybe, maybe sleep sometime. And so trading the opening range at the Globex or maybe Asia when it's not such prime time news hour might be a little bit better trading, frankly. Might be a little more, shall I say, a little less risk prone. And now this is where we're trading now, right? So this is today's RTH session, but we're trading down here where this little white nub is. So we've gapped down. We would definitely be a gap down now in an outside day, assuming that we continue on in this way and thinking about the RTH Open tomorrow. Another alternative for this exercise here at the Globex stuff, the guy that over at Edgeville that does these supposedly quite successfully, or profitably, I've never seen him trade ES or MES. He trades Qs or SPY or NASDAQ, but not, and I don't know why he continues to do SPY or the Qs as opposed to NASDAQ. Maybe it's just because that's what he's got on his data feed with TradingView. But where I was going with that thought was maybe the idea is to do this with NQ, which might obviously has more movement typically. That's one of the things I noticed last night, just looking back on TradingView here, because it's easier. What have we got here for this range? Well, this happens to be 12 handles this time. Over here was, 6 or something like that? Not much room, not much meat on the bone for the, so that your risk reward would be upside down, or could easily get that way. Just thinking out loud. But this isn't much fun now, is it? And look at that profile, boy, if that's not about the most perfectly balanced, just comes to a little bit of a kurtosis point on either side and perfectly balanced, and the POC smack dab in the middle, and that's one rotational beauty there. Looks a little more funky over here on this one. And these kind of things come zooming in here, you know? Like we're having a sell-off and then some news thing pops and it jumps up here and then they resume. Kind of picked up where they left off. Remember here that this is the micro composite column where I enter these things manually. This is the full session volume profile. So this is the volume profile of what we're doing right now. Right here. This is delta and volume profile for the RTH, which will reset tomorrow morning. Wonder if they're gonna get up to that 100%. There was a really high incidence of both levels being taken out too, if you remember. But I think this is just one of, you know, these are not typical trading environments. I don't think it's so news based is what I think. I don't know. What's happening over there? Nobody's rich yet. What's the deal? I'm being paged here in the other room. I'm going to step aside for a few minutes. Well, apparently I'm hearing things. Okay, good. Well, here we go. Back to the... now I can turn on the... I think. Let's just see about this here. So there's a profile. Not sure that's the right one I wanted to do. Okay. Okay, yeah. This is something I started playing with a little bit. This is a weekly profile. Just for something different to do. Volume profile. Weekly volume. And that kind of is a P shape, which is short covering. I'm not sure what. Oh yeah, this is based on the start, so never mind. Here we go. Knew there was one of those around there somewhere. So here's our profile so far for the Globex. Obviously, this will continue to grow with Asia and then London, and here's the RTH. Excuse me. Not much liquidity floating around out there. Even if I stop this down to 200, it's the only thing I see. Whoa, looky here, 30 seconds and bingo, bango, bongo, it's Asia time. And no 100% yet. Not looking like that's going to happen. Oh, they're going to dump it right at the last second before Asia opens. Huh? There we go. Asia is off and running. So these gold lines are the high and low of. These gold lines will continue because they're the high and low of the whole session. I built those before I did this latest drama. Now something, let's see something here. Hold on. Nobody move. Okay. I didn't change this back, did I? This was the daily 6 p.m. to 5 p.m., right? 100%. Remember, this is at any point in this period of time. That's from 1700 through 1600 tomorrow. But we've already taken the first break on the order low. So that was something I forgot about. What I did to try to catch Sundays was created this one because none of these are Friday through or Monday through Friday. So I needed to try to do a session that was other side of the day line. So now we're going to be, now we're in Asia. So we can start this all over again. And I can do these on, no, right, whoops, wrong one. Sorry about that. I can do these on relative to New York. Yeah. Now I know I'm being called. She can't say no now. I heard her out loud. Damn, sorry, mute. Oops. I was running through the columns here. The micro composite column, this data comes from the micro composite chart here in IRT. POC, etc. These red and green lines represent the levels, high and low volume nodes of this volume profile. And the session prices here also push to book. Here we go. So here's the micro composite values I enter manually, like the high and low, and MCV, POC, and that kind of stuff. This is no longer a naked volume point of control. And these are the high and low volume nodes. The full session volume profile, which starts plotting at 1700 and continues through 1600 tomorrow. This is not the ETH. Doesn't stop at 8:30. You can't do that with IRT. I have with Bookmap that I know of. And this is the RTH volume profile and delta, which will reset tomorrow at 8:30. These are my statistics, which are pretty important to me, and which we put together the statistics and determine what they are by the Statistical Open every morning during the pre-market at 8 o'clock. And then those values are entered over here, and I don't know why I'm not seeing any. Where the hell they go? There they are, way up above us. That's why. Statistics, right? And the session prices, which push automatically from book back. One thing that might be helpful, Stephen, I share these, as you know, you know from T-Lab, I share these session prices free, no problem, happy to do that. With anybody that in T-Lab there that wants them, just if that would be helpful to you, let me know. I start pushing them 1700 on Sunday night through 1600 on Friday, excuse me. And it's a CSV link that comes from Google Drive. So it's, I figured that was the safest way to put people's minds at ease about nefarious code and crap. I just push the levels up to there, and then they're exported directly from IRT. Anyway, that's that. And I don't have a DOM open on my Bookmap anymore because I was getting, I don't need those extra columns, and I need the space, the real estate. But this is the most important DOM column. Well, arguably, price is the most important, and then the resting liquidity, or the complete book, level 2, at every price. And then no indicators on my Bookmap or my IRT, just in keeping with my old simple Montana cowboy idea, which is actually what I really am. There's price, volume, and probabilities or statistics, and that's it. These are just the few lines that I have on here, and they're all price driven. POC, which, as you know, is just the price at which the most contracts have traded so far in the session. So far, we traded 2,105 contracts at the 40s. The minute one of these other prices trades one more contract, this yellow line is going to move there. That's all there is to it. And then there is a POC for the Globex, or a VWAP for the Globex, which is volume weighted average price. There's a mid, and there's a volume weighted average price for the for the RTH also. And then up here, you know, if we get back to the real world where we were actually trading with the statistics and all the session prices and settlement and all that stuff, and these few lines that penetrate through here, at the moment I have only the Edgeful IB statistic lines pushing the 25, 50, and 75. And I can push the same session price lines or the zones from that other old T-Lab based initial balance. I push them from my RT to Bookmap just so I can be, you know, trying to trade them and looking in one spot instead of looking all over the place. That's about it, my friend. And we're gonna just do this crap, I guess. Who knows? We need to get them out about one price. I like, in order to try to have myself to have a realistic and consistent opinion of scale. You know, how much does this move? Bookmap, in my opinion, is tough because this is just the last price line. I don't have all the heat map stuff going on and all those things to a lot of degrees like a lot of people do. This is just the last price. It's not the bid and the ask, it's the last price. Well, sometimes this scale can get wacky and doesn't look like we're getting far to me, you know, and then I realize that this has been wound way out and we're actually flopping around 10 or 15 points. In this case, it's the other way around. And remember that this ETH high and ETH low started plotting with Globex when we first started the stream back here. There's the high and there's the low. Now I'm being paged. I'm being paged. I'm being paged, so I'm going to step away for a nice dinner. Music's rocking, so nice talking to you, and keep, you know, I'll leave this stuff up and see how this thing turns out for this Asia opening range breakout. Well, that was a big coma-inducing nice steak and a bottle of red wine, and yeah. Well, what the hell has happened? We're about ready to close it off. Let's see what we see now. We did take out the high. From the Globex. The first initial balance level to be, or opening range level to be put in was the low. Now the high. Let's see if that all fits. Yep. There's the low. There's the high. Here we are back at the 25. At a 17 handle range. We've exceeded this IB high over here. I'm not sure what any of this means, right? I'm just telling myself. Let's see now. So the IB low was put in first. And we have a 60% probability to pull the IB high first. Ticket, single break. This is what we would expect. Still, the highest percentage of initial balance movement is a double break on Wednesday. Oh, are we in the right? Yeah, in Asia. Okay. Okay. Well, all back tastes good. I must admit, it's been a while. $60.40 IB high, IB low formed first. We still need the. We're still looking for the zone, which we're going to have in 4.5 minutes. So we've got about a nothing burger going on here, baby. Now, if I can, I'll see if I can time this so that I can just finish up everything I've got to do before the food coma just completely sweeps me on my butt. Been a long day. Been on the stream, in and out. I mean, the stream's been up for 12 hours. I was up for going on 17 hours, though. And I'm old. And that crap you hear about old people don't need sleep, that's... I don't know who put that out, but that's not the case in my world. I'm still just as tickled to get in bed and sleep in as the next guy, as I was a long time ago. What I've noticed about getting older, you know, when you're younger, you go out and party and close them down and come back in the morning and work all day and do it again, you know. Not the case. A, don't have the desire, and B, don't have the horsepower. And I don't regret either one of those going away, but it was, you know, it's fun when you're young, but that's a reality that I've noticed. And another one that's really important that I've noticed, so easy to fall out of shape the older you get, and the tougher it is to get back in. That's why I harp every day at the end of the RTH, the day, you know, RTH stream about you know, exercise, however you can set it up for yourself. In your room, if you're close to a gym, depending on how many hours you put on the desk, etc. It's so much better for you and your mind and your thinking and your cognitive skills and your trading to be fit and on your A game. And the older you get, the quicker it is to fall out of shape, and the harder it is to get back in. In my opinion. And of course, that's a sample set of ones. No, that's not very good data, is it? That's not very good statistical process. But damn sure the truth. Let's see what we did over here now. So we put the OB low first. We're going to look to take the high out. That is the 60% probability that we'll do that, and that's without any ending zone. Let's look at the traces. I'm not going to do this one, but let's look at the trace. This is breakdowns, which we're not looking at now. We're looking at a breakout. 67%. Nah, whatever. We can round those up. That will retrace to the 25s. 35% will retrace to the 50. So in this case, assuming we take this IB high, which we just set in stone, 17 handles, IB low forms first, all that matters. And we closed in zone is the 25, 0 to 25 handle. So in this complete configuration, if we break out high, we have a 67.5% probability that we're going to pull back to the 25% level, and only 35% to the 50. So we can add the one last thing here, which is the whoops, wrong report. Never mind. We got to get back to this one and put in the closing candle beauty. So we are in the 0 to 25 range, right? Now what happens? Oh, here we go again with the 100% thing on the opening range low first, and the opening range high being taken out. This is what we were looking at earlier. So what's happened? Because the candle closed in this range, the opening range low was put in first. So the zone values are set in the following manner, opposite, basically. 25 is, think about it, 0 to 25%, 25% to 50, 50 to 75, 75 0. If we close up here, pretty damn high probability we're going to take the high if the initial zone, the initial level was put in first, down here at the bottom. It's just common sense, but it's statistical, and it is quantitative, so I like it. So we have got 100% probability in this configuration that we're going to pop the IB high. Then we have a I was more awake. This is exciting. I mean, this is trade quality stuff, I think. And remember, that's a 0, 10. Oh, it's a 10 out of 10. So it's actually it's actually a reasonably good statistic looking back over 6 months. And as we determined, there's only 52 Wednesdays in the last 6 months, or in a year it was, I guess. Stephen, sorry, I brain fart there, brain fade, whatever. So let's get back to the retracement. There we go. 70% will retrace to 25. 36% will retrace to 50. If this were a normal day and I was wide awake and not running on fumes here, I would think that, and I hate to keep going back to TradingView, but it is a hell of a lot handier than IRT at this point. We're going to take this IB high as 100% probability, and then we're going to retrace to the 25s. You've got two ways to look at this. You can front run it to the stat, which is not my choice or my recommendation. And that is 18 or 17 divided by 4. Basically, only 4 handles here. That's not much meat on the bone, right? We break the IB high, then there's 70% we get here and 30% we get here. So if it pulls into this zone, we have a good probability of an entry. And the next thing that I haven't really gotten into yet is looking at targets. This doesn't mean that once we get to 25 or 50, we're going to keep going. That's a statistic that we'll need to look at the AI for. And the question would be, if we are in this entire setup is as we have it here now, or this is the state now, and we pull back to the 36%, what's the probability we're going to get back to the initial balance high or higher? One thing that you can look at is the opposite side of the coin, and that says that we've only got a 16% probability that we'll reach 75%. Well, that pretty much narrows down continuing lower, I think. Hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, man, I'm on mute again. Son of a bitch. Well, anyway, that was a wasted breath, I guess. Maybe that's a good sign to quit. What I was going to say, Stephen, is if you're around, cool, and if you're not, extra cool. I hope you're doing something meaningful and fulfilling, or just absolutely nothing but enjoying yourself. And it's really important to stay away from the screens. I have a lot of homework to do, so I have to do it. But, and I'll report back tomorrow. My initial thinking at this point is that I will probably not continue with see how it goes. A week or 3 or 4 days is not anything to base it on, but in this environment, I'm not sure that the Globex opening range is a thing that's going to have any interesting possibilities. And the person that I got this idea, that I saw talking about it a few times, is this guy with Edgefield name. He calls himself Zinc. I don't know, Mr. Zinc. I don't know whether that's his name or some, you can call me Sparky, whatever, I don't know. But he talks about these two trades that he takes them frequently and that they're successful. But as I said earlier, he never trades the ES. So it's quite possible that I'll need to look at these maybe next week for the NQ. And I do realize, and he often talks about, let's see something over here. He often talks about trading the Qs and SPY. Well, okay. Qs are the NQ as far as I know. And SPY is the ES as far as I know. But look at the difference in the values here. This is $700, and I think it goes in pennies, not quarters, or ticks. And we're looking at $7,500 on the MES. So, and I'll be real honest with you, I don't even know if my brokers. I'll have to check that I can even trade those instruments. To be honest. And as much as I hate to be honest, but that's the point of the stream. Remember that the stream is my, yeah, absolutely, man. Anything you need, just ping me or DM me or whatever else it is you do. However you do it, I'll be happy to, help whatever. If you need those session prices I can't imagine what I could do to help. But certainly don't hesitate to ask. And I think I'm going to probably let this go till the bottom of the hour and then wind it off. We did take the IB high now. So that statistic has been achieved. Let's see if it does a pullback and what might happen after that. But as I was saying, I'm going to look at the... Oh, there you go, man. That is something that you really need to be aware of. Life is what happens while you're making other plans, and you need to prioritize. And this shit isn't the top priority. It is what we do. Granted, it is, in my opinion, probably the best opportunity for unlimited upside. and you're only limited by you. There's no boss. There's no dillweed in the way. You know what I mean? But quality time with your son is worth 100 hours of me watching the market, or you watching the market up and down. So good for you, man. Those are priorities you need to keep aligned. And you obviously have. Congratulations. And anything I could do to help you, just ping me. Any old time. I used to work 24/7. A lot of weird places in the world. I was in Angola for many years and sub-Saharan Africa and stuff like that. But I used to tell people, well, I work 24/7. Well, what if I send you an email? Well, if I'm up, I'll see your email and I'll respond. And if I'm not, I won't, and I won't be upset either way. So, knock yourself out. So you have Bookmap? If you've got Bookmap, it's but simple, dude. Are you still on? If you're still watching, I'll hook you up with a. It's just a URL, and you put it. Yeah, okay. You just paste it right there. This is you can't copy this one and have it work for you because this is the internal one within my machine. But it'll look basically like this. And you just paste it in this column right here and get out of the way. And it's going to do this. Boom. So, yeah, happy to help. Cool. Now, I don't do the TM thing or whatever. It was just too complicated for me to push from, because all of this stuff comes from IRT, right? I guess you know that part, I assume. Where the hell is it? Get over here. The session prices here are from IRT, and what this really looks like, and here's where I export the data. So, this is a tool within IRT, and I export it to a specific template, and then output to a template which works with IRT and with Bookmap. You don't have to worry about any of that if you use the link I give you. And what was I going to show you here? Wait a second here. Hold the phone. That's the session prices, RX indicator, from which I push the stuff every day. So that's all of them. And this is the micro, of course, and then these are the minis. Do you trade the minis or the micros? You have IRT. Is that right? And Bookmap. Okay, no problem. You have IRT and Bookmap. Okay, cool. Well, the way the export, the whole thing works very simply. Excuse me. This is a tool called. God damn, sorry, I'm choking to death. Export data. Here's the file you export to, and here's the output file. If you want to do all of this yourself, you can, certainly. And you select what you're going to output, and then you have to create the CSV files in the correct format to accept the data and output the data. Then you take that URL or that you get, or that link, and you paste it over here. The way, the simplest probably thing to do in this case is, the simplest case is probably, I'll just, you can direct message me and I'll just shoot you the, I'm thinking here, that's why I'm not just flowing. I can just shoot you the chart definition for this particular chart, which would have the export data. But what you need is the file and the folders that have the input and the export. And then you point your book map to the export of, if you want to do it internally. If you just want to have the session prices pushed by me, I can just pop you the link, no problem. But whatever works the best for you, and if you want help figuring out how to do it on a more granular level, so you're more self-sufficient about it, I'm happy to help you. No problem. I don't, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I can post a link in this thing or not. I'm a regular donut, man. I am certainly not Mr. Influencer at all. I don't know much about any of this stuff, This is all the technology a few generations after me. But I am able to get, I just plow through until I get where I need to be. I think DM is the best way to share something. Or do you have my link now and have that in your bookmap Cloud Notes column? I don't think I could do that. And I don't think that if I did that, it would do you any good. Yeah, that would be the best way to go. I have a Discord for this risk neutral trading, but only one or two people. If somebody like Kiloton used to go, hey Boomer, help me out with this and that, so we get over there and then talk. But it's not any kind of a thing like normal. So you can DM me in the Traders Lab Discord, and then I'll just flop you the URL, and all you do is you create a Cloud Note column. I've named it IRT. It's just a Cloud Notes column. See that up there at the top? And then you go to Notes, Cloud Notes. Yes, I know, blah, blah, blah. And you paste the link that I send to you right there. And you click save and get out of Dodge, baby. And you will have these levels instantly. And then you can figure out the rest of it on your own. Or we can do it together, no problem. I'm not in the Traders Lab now, and I won't be around there till tomorrow or something, because I'm going to wind things down here and get to bed. I've been up since 4:30. But, let me think here. Yeah, I mean, DM pops up in my phone and every other place, so to do with Discord, I'm only in a couple of Discord places with Rod and those guys who are all ex or T-Labert kind of people. Rod and Harry and Dean, didn't matter, and those guys. Lefty. And then I have a Discord for risk neutral trading, but I don't really use it much. Maybe it's been hijacked by a bunch of Russians, and I don't know. Yeah, no worries. I'd flop it to you right now, but it wouldn't work in the chat thing, and I'm gonna try to. I gotta do important stuff now, man. I gotta clean the litter box and put out the garbage. Life. Remember, life is what happens while you're making other plans. That's really cool that you are that you're financially able to rely on trading and spend time with your kids. That's a proper priority, in my opinion. And who cares about my opinion, but congratulations. No, there's nothing to check. There's nobody there. I mean, it's, we don't use it for anything. Yeah, my wife's here all day, so we're together and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I've got to do stuff before I go to bed. Now I'm in Central Time Zone, so it's 8:30, and I've been up since 4:30 in the morning, so I'm running out of gas. And I'm just a little bit older than dirt, and a little teensy bit younger than the Bible, I guess, probably. I don't know. My wife said, "Oh, don't." I used to say I'm older than the Bible. My wife said, "Don't say that. This is Texas. These guys, Christian people, are very sensitive." I said, "Well, yeah, I was raised that way, and I understand that, but I don't think that's blasphemy at all. But anyway, older than dirt works for everybody." Well, have a good one, and enjoy those kids and your wife. And I'll see you around the horn there, dude. And whenever I see your DM, I'll grab the link out of my. It's kind of a long process I can go through with you so that you are autonomous unto yourself. Since you have both IRT and Bookmap, you should be. If I get hit by a bus, fall over dead, you don't want to have your shit go south because I'm not around. Okay? And I've helped a few other people in here, Altman or whatever his name is. He and some guy came in and wanted to know all about how to do it. And I'm sure they're selling them or pushing them to some other website because some strange guy dropped in out of the sky that wanted to know how to do the templates and all this kind of stuff. I don't care. Happy to help. So, no problem. And it's certainly not rocket science. Trust me. Trust me. Oh, well, I wish I was in your shoes. That's fantastic. I've always been the lead. I've always had point, right? I've always been the lead one. And that's okay too. That's how I grew up. So that's it. But yeah, that's super. All right, man. I'm going to shut the stream down now at the bottom of the hour. And then I'll be up at 8 o'clock in the morning Central Standard Time. I am not finding a whole lot of opportunity coming out of these either Globex or Asia opening range trades, but really nice talking to you, Stephen. And another couple minutes, and this bad boy is going to do the blank out. All right. Really nice talking to you. I'll look forward to seeing your DM, and I'll throw that link for you in there. And by the way, whatever. There's a lot of people in the T Lab that use that link, my session prices, and I've never told anybody not to share them freely. So, but I will be more than happy to share with you. And I kind of, well, I guess they didn't figure it was their responsibility. Ned has that thing, has the link, and Furs and all those guys. Anyway, take care of yourself. Have a great night. And trade them up. My brother, remember, prioritize. Now's the time to turn this crap off and go, wash your face, spank the kids a couple times, and get ready for mama to come home. There you go. Have a good one.